This episode of EMS One-Stop is brought to you by Lexipol, the experts in policy, training, wellness support and grants assistance for first responders and government leaders. To learn more, visit lexipol.com. That's lexipol.com.
Also, in the UK, we as a college are working really hard in promoting the profession. To those that don't yet know, they want to be in the profession. So a lot of this is about awareness and, you know, how proud to be we are paramedics and how proud the next generation could be. So it's not a commercial platform. This is about us celebrating us. We are posing the question of, do you need to work on an ambulance to become a primary care paramedic, for example?
Hello and welcome back to another edition of EMS One-Stop. I'm your host, Rob Lawrence, and today we're going overseas. In fact, we're going global because we are here to look forward to International Paramedic Day, which takes place on July the 8th this year and is the third such event that's taken place globally. It's getting bigger by the year. And to help me talk about it, I'd like to go across to the UK and welcome the Chief Operating Officer of the College of Paramedics, Lewis Andrews. Lewis, welcome. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, Rob. Thank you so much for the invite to talk about this really important day for us, our colleagues in paramedicine.
It is indeed a great day for our colleagues in paramedicine. So this is year number 3 of International Paramedics Day. So let's assume the good folk of the United States of America haven't heard of this before. So let's start from the beginning. Where are its origins? Who created it? And how big has it gotten? How big is it going to get?
Yeah, thanks. So it started. This will be our 3rd year. Started with colleagues, College of Paramedic members, just wanting to recognise the importance of us, our profession, and dedicating the day to that. And the 8th of July was chosen, specifically the birthday of Dominique-Jean Larrey, who was a French military doctor. And he suggested it is sort of the origin of ambulances and as such, paramedics and paramedicine. And the first year we had approximately 50 partners, and they were predominantly from the UK. And the theme for the first year was proud to be a paramedic. And we built on that, and we reflected on the first year. And last year, the growth was awesome, including international partners. And we had just over 100 last year. And the theme last year was the difference we make. And as I sit here with just a month to go for our 3rd year, we're looking at over 150 partners, which is awesome. And the reach globally, it has been phenomenal. And all of this, our partners can be, viewed, shared, engaged with on our website that the college has dedicated, which is internationalparamedicsday.com. There's a whole wealth of information there as well, in where we started, how we started, what we're looking to achieve, and how we sort of collaborate together as one community, and offering not only us within the community, but our key partners, stakeholders, friends and colleagues from other agencies to see a bit more about us and what we do.
That's great. And so many folk know that I'm a former British Army officer. I was actually an officer in the Royal Army Medical Corps. And we studied Dominic Larrey. And as you say, he created the flying ambulance, right? And so it was that service that went onto the battlefields, particularly the Battle of Waterloo. And here's a quote from Larry, right? Because, of course, I'd done my research that he said, "Those who are dangerously wounded must be tended first without regard to rank and distinction." And, of course, this led down the route of categorizing people into groups, into the sort of 3 categories. And, of course, because it's French, it became triage. And so there's the backstory for that. Also, the person on the other side of that battle was a guy called the Duke of Wellington. And him and his team and his generals observed Larry and his flying ambulance coming onto the battlefield. And he actually said, "Give the brave man time to gather up the wounded," and saluted the courage and devotion at an age that is no longer ours. And so that's where ambulance comes from, people. So sorry to butt in there, but I'm a bit of a Larry fan myself. So it's where it all came from.
Thanks, Rob. No, and it's so insightful, isn't it? Many years ago, and the origin of us.
Indeed. So the theme, though, is unity and community, and there are some sort of sub aims and objectives in those. And so, do you want to cover those for us?
Yeah, so the theme this year was a collaboration. The group got together, it was discussed, and the unity and community, as we say, encapsulates the celebrating togetherness. That community of us as paramedicine, coming together on this special day, celebrating, recognizing how we work collaboratively, and that's within our own paramedicine community, but also wider in the needs of the patient. And that community is far reaching and will alter in whatever geographical area you're in. And the partnership focus of this in the unity and community, as you touched on, Rob, there, the aspects of ensuring that we have better outcomes for patients, a higher quality of care, more support for each other, which is really important, increasing our knowledge, enhancing our research, and a deeper sense of purpose and belonging within our profession.
So these are aims and objectives that I think any global paramedic and any global sort of EMS system would recognise and go by. But obviously, from an international perspective, how can we sort of share all of those things, share those better outcomes, share our research? What do you suggest?
So I think the starting point is to get involved in International Paramedics Day. Use our platforms that we've got available to promote what you're doing. Start those discussions with others. The support and ongoing networks that come from just the day are immense. And that's part of the future thinking for the college as well. How can we be that platform to support others, to have those discussions? Let's not reinvent the wheel, but let's look at what the wheel is for the environment that it's required to roll in, and how best we can support and help and develop that for ultimate patient care to the best in the environment it's given.
And this, and I know this. Of course, I used to be a leader in the UK ambulance services. I'm now in the US. I've had the privilege to travel to other continents to see how it's done. I have to tell you that once you get over that sort of first 2 minutes of introduction, paramedics have the same concerns, the same issues, dare I say, the same complaints, the same gripes across the world, no matter what the language is. And so we are very much unified in the issues that we face. And so therefore coming together in a day like the International Paramedics Day on July the 8th is actually a really good idea. And I think on the website also there's an opportunity to share what you're up to as well.
There is, yeah. So that all the links, as I say, on the website will give you those links, the hashtags, and the drivers for that. And we've got a team available on the build up and on the day that will promote, will push forward posts, etc. And we also then showcase them thereafter on the website. So they're not there for a day and then disappear. This, as I say, is about building momentum. And as a college, we want that community to be part of our community. And in the UK, we are the College of Paramedics, which is the professional body for the profession. And we're really proud to have over 20,000 members. And that's as such part of that community, but it's unique to the UK. And that the 8th of July is about bringing us all together.
Excellent. So let's sort of do a quick bottom line upfront recap. So July the 8th is the third International Paramedics Day. You can get all the information at www.internationalparamedicsday.com, hashtag IPD2025. I notice already on that website, there are already links to the various sort of social media platforms where everybody can share what everybody's up to. Also, I'll put up on the screen, and also you could just visit the website just to see the amount of ambulance services, ambulance organizations, educational institutions, national associations from around the planet that are already involved. And it's an impressive sort of set of logos that you've collected and are curating there, which represents the amount of organizations that are taking part in this. So it's a chance really to bring the global paramedic community together. And I think That's really exciting, Lewis, and I can't wait for the day. And obviously, we're going to help you over here by promoting it. Also, should note that the American Ambulance Association, in particular, International Academy of Mobile Healthcare Integration, California Ambulance Association, and a number of other UK national associations have already signed up, and therefore will be promoting International Paramedics Day as well. So it's an exciting thing.
It is, and we thank you all for the support. And this, I think the key, as you've touched on also, Robbie, is we're also raising awareness, in where paramedics are working. It's not just in the emergency setting. We're considerate of our colleagues in primary, second care, military, in whatever field they're delivering their skills to the patients that need them. It's recognizing that and demonstrating. And also in the UK, we as a college are working really hard in promoting the profession to those that don't yet know they want to be in the profession. So a lot of this is about awareness and, how proud to be we are paramedics and how proud the next generation could be. So it's not a commercial platform. This is about us celebrating us.
And there's nothing wrong with us celebrating us. And like you, I suspect recruiting is always on our mind, getting the workforce and gaining numbers in order to do what we have to do, which internationally is that great health and social care safety net. We're the ones that are there first. We're the ones that are always running in, no matter where you are on the planet. We're actually there, we're the first responder, and it's always good to see that we're coming together as a bunch of professionals from around the planet to do that. You mentioned the College of Paramedics, though, and so when we come back after the break, I'd really love to drill down into the UK College of Paramedics, because I think you have a lot going on and you have a lot that you can inform and perhaps influence activity here in the US. But let's take a quick break.
Lexipol empowers first responders and public servants to best meet the needs of their residents safely and responsibly. Serving more than 2 million public safety and government professionals in over 8,000 agencies and municipalities, Lexipol offers a range of solutions that includes policies, training, behavioral health resources, news and analysis, and grant assistance services for law enforcement, fire and rescue, EMS, local government, and other agencies dedicated to public safety. To learn more, visit lexipol.com. That's LEXIPOL.com.
And we're back, and you heard there the voice of Jim Dudley from Policing Matters. Do take a second to go across onto policeone.com and listen to Jim. He has a weekly vodcast just like this one with some amazing guests from the policing and public safety sector of our industry. And so take a second to listen to Jim. Also remember that we're not only on the podcast platform, wherever you get that podcast from, we're also on YouTube. And so I tell you every week that you can either listen to us or watch us. And the advantage of watching us on YouTube is you get slides, graphs, images, etc. To help us tell the story. So if you're listening, have a look. And if you're looking, have a listen. So don't forget, though, the main thing is to make sure that you like and subscribe wherever you get your vodcast or your podcast from. I'm talking to Lewis Andrews, the Chief Operating Officer of the UK's College of Paramedics. In the first half, we talked about International Paramedic Day, the third outing of that, and we really like you to sign on, to visit the website, to go and have a look at what's up, and actually to contribute, because we are a global community. But the College of Paramedics, it's an interesting one, and so tell us about the College of Paramedics, Lewis.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. So I've been with the College of Paramedics for just under 3 years now. I was clinically based within an ambulance service in the UK. But the draw to the college as an employee and employer was on my desire to promote the profession. So the College of Paramedics in the UK is the professional body for paramedics. We're not the regulator and we're not a trade union. We offer a number of member benefits, and part of that is an insurance protection that's there that should you be referred to our regulator. There's a process there that's in a supportive mechanism. We offer CPD opportunities. So we have over 650 CPD opportunities available for our members. We offer various interaction with our members in other forums. And the members tell us being part of the community, as in the College of Paramedics community, is really important to them. So we are always looking to improve our offer for our members, making our membership personal to them so that we can make sure we're offering the right CPD in the right areas, for example, or if there are challenges in a health system in a certain area, we're cited on that on behalf of our members. And right through to considerations at policy making, the college will be involved. So there's a range right through, as I described, from the crew room right up to Parliament, in where the college are involved. And obviously the key pillars at the college, we've got a head of research, a head of education, professional standards. And then there's obviously pillars within them that are really focusing on driving the profession forward, aligned with promoting the profession and demonstrating. Just a couple of years ago, we had a campaign of not all paramedics wear green. So green is the predominancy of uniform in the UK in ambulance services. But as I touched on earlier, paramedics now are in many fields of medicine and respected in that collaboration, in that patient care journey. So they are respected in the autonomy they present, prescribing, for example, their clinical leadership, elements of research and education. And it goes on and on and on. So we're advocating on behalf of our members, to make that prominent.
So it's interesting that you say that you are neither the regulator nor a trade union, which is an interesting point. First of all, is it fair to say that the majority of UK paramedics are indeed associated, however, with the College of Paramedics? Question one. And then go on to talk about the role of the Healthcare Professionals Council, HCPC, which of course is perhaps the regulator.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. So what we recognise is all paramedics in the UK have a choice in joining the college because it's not mandated, whereas with the HCPC you are required to register with them and a fee is associated with that. I would suggest that the union presence, specifically in the ambulance sector, is high for various reasons. So the college work hard to make that visibility and availability available to all. And currently, as I sit here, we've got as members just under 50% of state registered paramedics that are here in the UK. So we know that there is potential to grow our membership, but we also recognise the importance of looking after the members that are with us and support us to do our functions and roles on their behalf.
So if I can sort of invite you to talk across both parts of both the college and obviously HCPC, because what I think US medics particularly and US leaders particularly are interested in, of course, is how it all sets up and works from actually here comes the 4-part question. You are protected by law, the level of education that paramedics are now required to have, and then, of course, the various tiers and strata of that sort of paramedic education, certification, qualification that people go through. Because, of course, you go from a paramedic, and you mentioned, primary and urgent care, prescribing paramedics, etc. Those things are probably unheard of in the US. So talk about the fact, first of all, as a profession, it is protected by law. What does that mean?
Yes, so as a registrant, I'm required every 2 years to provide evidence and self-cert as such that I meet the standards of regulation. I may then be called for an audit of my continuing professional development, which will go in front of a panel. And for 2 years, you're then on the register as such. So that's visible to the public, to anybody who wants to check your name against the register for that. Then, obviously, as the regulator, to protect the public, they have a duty to, for example, act on information on registrants, whether that's a complaint, a concern, a legal matter. And then, that's a fitness to practice route that a registrant may well go down, depending on what allegations or outcomes are for that. The regulation is for all paramedics. I think that I need to be really clear. We've touched on many different streams, but the title paramedic is protected, and the regulations cover that in whatever field and scope of practice that you deliver your care.
So you can't simply, if you've done a first aid course, call yourself a paramedic. That is illegal and can be prosecuted against.
I am aware of some situations where individuals or companies that they operate in or from have paramedic within the title. And as you say, it is a protected title in the UK. And unless you are on the register as an individual, you are not able to use that title.
So point to note for US services, that's a good one that we may want to, as I always say, R&D, rip off and duplicate. Now, education, we have come a long way, or you've come a long way in the UK, maybe in the last 25, 30 years, in terms of becoming graduate level practitioners. And so can you kind of talk through, if I have just left high school, I'm electing to go into university, I want to take a paramedic degree, what does that look like? And what does that career path then kind of turn into?
Yeah, sure. So in the UK at present, I'm going to quote some numbers. They're not exact, but they're not far from it. So we've got approximately 60 paramedic programs that are being delivered by higher education institutes. There's about 48 of those institutes delivering the program. So you'll see that some are delivering multiple programs. The cohort applying from that, so you're out of sixth form as it is in the UK, ready for university, it's not uncommon to have 400 applicants for 40 places. So that's not uncommon. So we have a high interest in the career in the UK with limited places due to funding and opportunities then in career progression as you come out of university. But the university program in the UK, if I was to go on a program, I would be paying the fees. They're approximately £9,000 per year over a 3-year program. And
so let me just translate that. So a paramedic degree is about $14,000 a year in a university. There are people in the US going, wow, that's not a lot of money. Anyway, sorry, do carry on.
Okay. So you'll go through your program. You'll have obviously university-based lectures, presentations, scenarios, sim suites, etc., etc. And then you'll do placements predominantly with an ambulance provider, which is one of our NHS, National Health Service ambulance trusts. So you'll have allocated time with that. And then as your program evolves, you'll come up to graduating, and then you will move to look for an opportunity of an employment. And predominantly in the UK at the moment, that's still straight into the ambulance sector. But we are posing the question of, do you need to work on an ambulance to become a primary care paramedic, for example? So would the system support a paramedic education program pathway where you could transition straight into primary and urgent care and not go near an emergency setting situation? That's not there yet, but they're sort of things that are being spoken about.
That's a really fascinating angle, and one that I hadn't considered. Of course, back in the day, I love that American phrase, back in the day, of course, you served your time on patient transport services. You then progressed up to the 999 service, and then eventually you may have got into community paramedicine and then into urgent and primary care. And so actually to stream straight into that is fascinating. And before I ask you to answer that question, the one that springs to mind is, of course, we're all aware of, I call it the Australian situation, where Australian universities are overproducing medics. A lot of them have gone to the UK. We're now starting to see, the tap being turned on and Aussies coming to work here in the US. So is there almost a guaranteed job? Obviously, it doesn't sound like there's as many coming through your pipeline, but are they all guaranteed a job, or like the Australians, do they have to go and look elsewhere first?
So I think it would be fair to give a global response to that, Rob, and for the listeners, that the vacancies were high but they are reducing.
Okay.
And as the professional body, we've recognized that. And I think what I'm trying to explain here is you may have 10 people graduate from town A, and there's 12 vacancies with that ambulance service for town A. What you may find now is there's only 4 vacancies in town A, so 6 others have got to look further afield. So it's changing in the profile at the moment, but as long as the pipeline is strong, that helps the ambulance trusts and those that employ the paramedics, knowing that they're coming through the system. And again, part of our role at the college is to make that attractable if you're considering it as a career, because we don't want people to think, well, I'm not going to bother because there's not a job at the end of it.
Right. I mean, that's a good point. And so let's get back into the discussion, which I think is really fascinating, about let's just stream for urgent and primary care. You're not there yet, but what sort of extra academic areas would one need to do to achieve that? I mean, has any thought gone into what's in the curriculum to get you there versus just the ambulance paramedic?
Yeah, so work's ongoing daily in that field, Rob. We have a curriculum that's available on our website, so colleagues from wherever and our listeners today and tomorrow can go and look at that, and that is used to support that consistent end product paramedic. The complexities of the different systems and work and where it is in primary and urgent care. Well, is that a GP surgery? Is it a visiting care of the elderly? Is it an end of life paramedic? It's depending in what domain they're going to is very dependent on what the standard is required. And we're working, as I say, all the time with our key stakeholders and partners to help develop that. And also looking at our allied health professional colleagues in the UK that have been through similar aspects. But what we're really clear and is available for our members and colleagues on listening is we have a career framework, again, available on our website that actually shows that you can develop from that day one newly qualified right through to a consultant paramedic, chief paramedic, director, professor. And we show and break down what that looks like. So your aspiring leader can see that roadmap of how to get there, what qualifications, what level of academia do I need to get there. And we also then offer on our interactive career framework, we offer bios of people who have got there or are on that journey, so you can listen to that lived experience.
I mean, that's interesting. And actually, we've had as a previous guest on the EMS One-Stop, Jason Killens, formerly of the Welsh Ambulance Service, about to become London Ambulance Service. And of course, one of the big discussion points we had with Jason was the fact that he dispensed with his medical director because of the clinical sophistication, the education, certification, qualification of his paramedics. He actually had professorial level paramedics that stepped into that role. So I guess that's kind of illustrative of how you go from college level paramedic all the way through to PhD level quasi medical director. So I think that's really an interesting point.
Yeah, and again, as the professional body representing our members and those at that level, Lewis would suggest, I'll be really clear here, Lewis would suggest that perhaps other professional bodies, or in the UK, colleges, royal colleges, would look down at paramedics and go, they're there, because their perception is that you and I, Rob, drive something with blue lights on and we deliver people to hospital. And it's about us as the College of Paramedics demonstrating and representing, as you said, chief paramedics who are sitting on boards, who are making, decisions appropriately for the best care for patients, because they're experienced to do it, they're trained to do it, they're competent to do it, and they're a paramedic.
It's fantastic, and I look forward to seeing how that continues to grow and balloon in the UK. I certainly had some great feeling, some great encouragement from listening to as I say, Jason Killen's talk. So long may that continue, and hopefully folk listening to this in the US may get some inspiration from that, and that's pretty good. Sort of going through the various steps of paramedics. So advanced paramedic practice, and particularly prescribing. Can you describe that? Because again, we all work under the directions of a medical director, under the clinical protocol set by a local medical director, under the formulary perhaps of our local medical director. What makes a prescribing paramedic such?
Autonomy, in a word.
Right.
But the benefits of that, Rob. So that, again, they go through a structured education process, examination, and support thereafter. So the systems and processes must be in the organization that they're being employed by. So our colleagues will check that, and the whole ability there is in that autonomy. So an example potentially is we go out in a diagnosis of a urinary tract infection with a differential of X and Y. We do a urine dip, and we have the antibiotics available to prescribe there and then, rather than historically what we'd have potentially had to do was convey them through to A&E or a care of the elderly ward, or get the GP to visit, or get the district nurse to visit, and it's hours later before treatment can start. So that's just one example. It's in your field of practice. I would suggest that the biggest benefit in the UK scene at the moment is in the primary and urgent care setting, where paramedics are in the consultation room on their own. They will have an agreed list of you can prescribe without further advice support, through to, if you're considering that, you need to speak to us just very quickly as the doctor. But that improves the patient experience so much, and it's the paramedic that's improved that experience because of their skills and competencies.
That's amazing, and it sounds almost like that's getting into the physician assistant PA role that we have here, but paramedics, again, because of the clinical and academic education, are getting there, and so all power to the folk in the UK, and again, perhaps food for thought here in the US. So I like to end every interview I do, Lewis, with my ending question. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask, or anything else that you need to tell us today?
No, as I started with, just a great thank you for inviting us. And if there's anything that your listeners want to hear further about the College of Paramedics, please do visit our website, and we'd be happy to come back and speak further on any subject that may be of interest.
That's great. I'm glad you said that, because you're on my re-invite list already, Lewis. So thanks, mate, for doing that. So for the moment, sir, thank you very much indeed. So that was Lewis Andrew, the Chief Operating Officer for the College of Paramedics. We had two really essential and important discussions there. International Paramedics Day at internationalparamedicday.com. Have a look at that. It's July the 8th. It's where global paramedics across the planet come together to celebrate the really great job that we do, which of course is being that great health and social care safety net around the planet. Also, a great discussion on the College of Paramedics and actually the work that they're doing, the role that they have, and indeed the educational framework that they have in the UK. I think it's a great discussion, and also food for thought about how you stream a paramedic education from the, let's call it the rite of passage, from going to paramedic training to going on the truck and then moving on elsewhere, through to actually doing a straight paramedic course in urgent and primary care, and then streaming straight in, without passing go, using the ambulance or collecting $200 straight into the primary care centre. So some interesting thoughts there, and I'd love to hear what you think about all of these things in the comments on the platform that you listen to this podcast on. Also, all of the references, all of the things that we've talked about will be in the show notes, so take a look. There'll be lots of links for you to click. And so thanks again to Lewis. It's been a great edition of EMS One-Stop. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. I've been Rob Lawrence, and until next time, bye for now.